All right, so today we're going to continue on with our little weight logger, and we have our little view here that we now can launch from our calculator and go back and forth between the two views. And what we want to do now is when this activity is launched, I want to get the current date and time and fill in these two edit boxes with the current date and time. We're already filling in the weight, and where do we get the weight from? From the last page, right? So it transfers that using the what? What do they call that? Intent, right? We intend to do something, so it passes through the intent structure. Yeah.
Should we use a date picker before doing all this?
No. Because we want to have the date. We want to have the date show up right when the activity comes to life. Okay, and then if they want to change that date, then they would click on it and we'll go to the date picker. Okay, so and logically this is slightly easier. It gets us into this calendar system a little easier than dealing with the date picker. That's a lot more complicated. So we're easing into it here. All right, so in my weight logger class, this is the class that deals with this view. And so during its initialization, I need access to these pointers, so I'm going to add my pointers to the edit text. So I need one for the date, and it's an edit text. Find view by rd r.id.edt weight or date. And then I'm going to call one edt time. All right, and then I need to have some private variables to store that for this particular class. So these are like instance variables, remember? Private, and they're edit text types, and edt date, and edt time. All right, so that gives me a way that I can set the content in those. Then all I need to do is to find the date and time and put it in that text block. All right, so there's another method that Android gives us is a calendar class. Actually, this comes from Java, not just Android. And I'm going to create a variable called C for my calendar, and I'm going to initialize it by calling a get instance. So I'm getting a new instance of the calendar class. So now C is what type of an object? It's an object. It's a calendar object. So I can do calendar-y stuff with it, right? See, very good. You guys are right in there. Pardon me? No, this does this creates a new instance for me. Final means that it can't be modified below or subclass. So if I make a class this final, for instance, nobody can subclass that final. It's for security reasons. And this makes it so that I can't change this in my program. I can only use it. So it's like a read-only variable. What's the other word for those? Static variable. Constant. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. So it's more like a constant in Ruby. Okay? More secure, just because I don't want to modify that once I get it.
Just using a capital letter doesn't make it a constant.
No, not in Java. No. That's the class name. So, all right. Java's big difference on that one. So now I need a way to do this, to get the current date. And so I'm going to write a method called setCurrentDateOnView. All right, so it's going to be a public void set current date on view. And it doesn't need anything because it's just one of my own internal methods that I'm writing. And we need to get some values from this calendar system. So this, if I call something like, if I want the year, I need some variables to store these in. Everything comes back as a integer. So I'm going to have 5 different variables to hold my month, day, year, hours, and minutes. I don't care about seconds. I don't think people would log their seconds of how heavy they are over time. Minutes should be good enough, right? Microseconds, my weight changes a lot. So then to get the current year, I can store into that variable from this C calendar object. There's a method called get. And I want to get, and if you look at those, there's a lot of methods that come from here. Get time zone, get first day of week. So these are least, yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Least maximum. So I'm going to get something, and the constant that I want to get is from the calendar class. There are a bunch of constant variables, right? So I want to get calendar.year. Very good. Look at you. And that's all uppercase. That tells you that's like a property, a class property from the calendar class. And that's just a constant. So I want to get the year from this, and it will get the current year from the current date and time.
I got a feeling this is the same thing for days.
You think so?
Months, hours.
So month is c.get of the calendar dot month. Look at that. You're good. The day equals c.get of the calendar calendar dot day. Yes, it is. Day of month. And then we've got 2 more is going to be the day, the hours, and the minutes. And these are going to be hour and minute. Look at that. So now these values, these integer variables, are going to hold a number. So theoretically, year is going to be 2013, right? And month is going to be 10, and day is going to be whatever today is, 16. All right, so now all we have to do is take those values and create a string that we can set back into that date view, that edit text date view. All right, so the date is going to be in a format something like this. Oops. It's going to be something like the month followed by the day followed by the year. So we just need to create a string based on that. And how do we set a date? How do we set the text in a edit field? Set text, right? So edt.date.setText. And then we pass it the string that we want to have in there. So I'm going to use a shortcut way of doing this. I'm going to start with a space, a blank string, and then I'm going to add to it the what's first? The month, right? So the month. And then I'm going to add a dash. Now, why did I start with a space, do you think? Right. It starts with a conversion automatically. I can add an integer to a string, but it doesn't go the other way around easily, I don't think. At least that's the way I do it in JavaScript, so I'm assuming that's the same thing. So I haven't tested that, actually. So then we add the day, followed by a dash, followed by the year, and that should set the current text in that edit field. Does that make sense? It's going to be four digits.
So there's not a date object that is European or Americanized?
There is. You can change the format. Yes, and I'll show you that next. I just want to show you the simple way of doing this. This is, since we're ugly Americans, we do it all our own way first, right? So let's run that and see what we got. Did my Android actually work?
Not New York.
Mm-mm.
Well, New York, you can want one, but don't mean you're going to get one.
Yeah. Come on. Oh, good question. I did not. So I go to my weight logger. I was wondering if somebody would catch that.
Well, not only that.
It didn't do anything, right? Why? Because my little set current on view is grayed out. It's never used, right? So I need to call that method. And where do you think would be a good place to call that?
Switch to logger.
No, because we want to have this all inside of this view. In our initialize view method. Sounds good, right? So we're going to, as soon as we've created all of our pointers to everything, then we can call our set current date on the view. All right, let's run it again now.
But that's still not going to go anywhere.
Sure, it should.
No, it's just going to call the dates. It doesn't.
This actually sets
okay,
it.
okay, sorry. Forgot about that one. Derp, derp.
Pay attention. I know. We'll have 219 next quarter at 6:30, so it'll be a little easier.
I was going to say, what's it going to take to switch some of the first year students?
Yeah, I know. Get them in here early. All right, look at that date. Sweet. All right, so how do we do that for the time? So I need to set the time. And we'll do something like the day, no, the hours, and then maybe a colon plus the minutes, right?
The AVDF estimate time is long. It's not pull up the computer time.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that.
Because I was like, the date on there was 9/16.
That's close.
Yeah, it is. It's very close.
It's off by one. That's pretty good.
That's why I was asking.
So the point is that the month is actually zero based, like JavaScript. So January is 0. So 9 is actually October. So I need to add 1 to it to make it look American, right? So here I would just add 1 to this. Yeah. They're in a right. I don't have the AM and PM. So ideally, there's a better way to format the date and the time. All right, because you asked about the locality, all of that is very important. So there's another way to do this, of course, and we can create a format for how we want our date to look. So we'll call it date format. And we create a string that tells it how I want my year, date, and month to look. Now, if you look online for simple date format in Java, let's see what's a good one. Here's a better one. In the Android side, it gives you symbols. These are like you would see in PHP, how you can format a date string given these symbols. So all of these symbols I can use to create my date and my hour strings. So if I use a capital M, that's the month and the year. If I use 2 M's, then it's going to put a 0 in front of it. If I use 3 M's, it's going to change it to Jan. If I use 4 M's, it changes it into the full month, January. And 5 M's, it goes into a single letter, which is weird. That seems weird there. But, yeah. Then if I use a Y, 2 Y's gives me a single 2-digit year, and I want 4 Y's, right? So I'm going to make mine have 4 Y's in it.
1, 3, or 4 will do 4.
That's interesting. Saving. All right. Well, I like it like this because then I know exactly what I'm getting. That makes more sense to me. All right. So that's the date format, and then I can call that method simple date format and create a variable. So I'm typecasting this SDF and creating a new simple date format, and I pass it the format that I want. And then I can pass it the locale of where I want that to be. Locale.us. All right? And we need to add this package. There we go. That added our package up at the top. So I've got a locale package now. All right, so that gives me the date format as an object. So it formats the date as an object. And then I can set my edit date. Instead of creating this string manually, I can call my calendar. I can say, for my simple date format, I want to format a particular date object, and my date object is c.getTime. All right, so that's a lot easier to do that. And for my time, I can create a new, so those are all together here. And if I do it that way, I don't need any of these values here. All right, I just wanted to show you different ways of getting data from the calendar. Yeah. Yes, yeah, that gives you a whole current time object for the current date, for the date and time, a whole date object that encompasses now. That's like time.now in Ruby. And then I need another format for my, we'll call it edit time format. And we want this to be using the same things. And a little a, if we look back here, gives me the AM PM marker. All right, so it'll actually write out PM or AM for me. And this is going to be my time format. call this my STF. How about that? That sounds good. And then I'm going to call the get time again for this one. All right, and all I'm doing is I'm taking that time object and putting it through this format that I pass to this simple date formatter. And it does it all for me. It will create that for me. So that's a lot simpler and nicer, right? So let's run this guy again. Go to my weight logger. Look at that. Is that sweet? Beautiful stuff right there. Now I can still edit this. Right. Yeah, the time. Yep. Oh, because I did. Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, it takes care of that for me because absolutely right. All right, so my time is off. It's not.
That's the clock's time, or the phone's time.
I know the phone is. Why is the phone time different? I have no idea.
It creates a weird time. Maybe that's when it was on. It always turns on at like 7 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Is the startup time.
That's a bizarre thing there.
Yeah, I don't know why it's, but yeah, I was noticing that when I was running mine. It was like 7:30. I'm like, but
All right. Any questions on what we did there? Pretty nice little function. We can take all of this out. This is useless now. Right. So that's the next problem. We don't want to allow the user to actually type their own date because they'll screw it up, right? And we want to now also get that date and time so that we can log it later. But that's a whole week on just saving it to a database. So tomorrow, let's see, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow we'll do the dialog that pops up to go to the date picker and the time picker. And that's fairly easy to do once you create the right stuff. No. No. We have to create a listener. Yep, not so easy. I have that in here, don't I? Didn't I do that for my focus?
yours is the on focus change. I forgotten that was in there, so I was
Yeah.
trying to find a header.
So this one, when it loses focus or gains focus, I'd call my calculator here. So, that's the handler. To create it, this is how I create my listener here. That establishes the listener, and then on each edit text. And we're going to do something similar to that for our edit texts. We're going to establish a listener for each of our views that we have there. Oh, yeah. It doesn't work. Yeah. They don't do anything, I know. All right, any other questions on our little date formatter here? All right, that's good enough.